your wealth, live on your terms. Hello and welcome to the Conversations with Experts, the show that allows you to meet, hear from, and connect with people who have expertise in different areas of life. The intention of this show is to help you create and experience your best life. I'm Millen Livis, the host of this show and financial independence mentor for professional women who want to be financially independent so they never have to worry about money again. It's a holiday time, and I want to tell you that for the next few weeks, I'm inviting you to have a complimentary consultation with me and talk about your fastest path to financial independence. So to find the link where you can connect with me, go to speakwithmillen.com. All right, speakwithmillen.com. All right, so today's episode is very close to my heart because I have an amazing guest today, a guest who will conquer your hearts just like she conquered mine. And her name is Laura Donnelly. Welcome, Laura.
Hi, Millen. I'm so happy to be here today and to share some of these ideas right before Christmas and right as we start the new year with your lovely community and the people that you support.
Thank you. I love having you today. The timing is perfect. And I just want to say that the topic of today's episode is dancing with ease, body-brain balance. Actually, Laura and I will go back to probably about maybe 2 years back. Laura used to be one of my beautiful clients, and I just want to tell you, just seeing her blossom from the time when we met and seeing what the beautiful work she does in the world right now is really makes my heart sing. So Laura is a teacher, mentor, and choreographer, dancer, and writer. She teaches dancing with ease, body-brain balance. That is based on the principles of Alexander techniques and movement fundamentals. Well, Laura holds a master's degree in theater, arts, and dance, and from the University of Arizona, and she is someone who traveled all over the world, and I don't know if she will mention this, as a performer and choreographer. So her choreography has been performed in the US, in Europe, and she was professional ballet performer herself. So you can see how talented this lady is. And now she's applying all her passion, all her talent to help other people find balance, body-brain balance, and learn how to dance with ease. Again, welcome, Laura.
Millen, I'm so happy to be here. And the thing is, what working with you did reminded me of things I knew inside myself that I had forgotten. And that's the work I do. And part of the magic of working with other people is that we remind each other of our innate basic goodness, and we support each other in remembering how to do that. And so you mentioned my performing career, and I really loved performing. It was a lot of fun. And from the time I was a kid and read Around the World in 80 Days, I always wanted to go around the world. And one of the things that I forget is that I actually manifested so many of the dreams I had. And so when I was dancing, I got one of these tickets that if you always fly the same direction, and I was going east, you can go all the way around the world and land in any country. You have a whole year. And I went around the world. I took more than 80 days. But it was a beautiful adventure. And when we are in alignment with our body and our brain, we can do wonderful things. We can have fun. We can create the life of our dreams. And we can get rid of all the things that get in our way. Stress and overwhelm and fear. Fear is a big one right now in the world. And part of this is to discover the right effort needed to achieve what you want to achieve. And that means not too much and not laying back and not doing quite enough. And we get messages from our body all the time. I mean, you and I have such beautiful alignments on listening to the body, responding to the body, listening to what the body needs to heal. And it's just always a pleasure to see your posts and read how you're working with people and to be in your community. And so for people at this holiday season, this is one of the things that can knock us off balance. It could be anything. It could be having to travel, and especially traveling in this day and age, which is a little bit more challenging. It can be having house guests. That can be really stressful for some people. It can be pressure to find the right gift. Is there a right gift? If it comes from your heart, how can it be a wrong gift? And then there's just all the decorating and cooking and whatever else anybody wants to do. And the expectations, plus the family history. I think at these holiday times, and as we head into the new year, this whole thing about New Year's expectations and New Year's resolutions and wanting to change and make the next year better than the last year. That's all normal, but it puts a lot of pressure right here on this upcoming 2 weeks.
Laura, I'm so glad you brought it up, because what I see, people women I come across from, and even my clients, that stress is almost normalized. It's like normal. Yeah, I'm stressed out. Yeah, I'm overwhelmed. And we normalized not only stress, but also fear. I believe that right now, in addition to COVID pandemic, we also have a fear pandemic and frankly, stress pandemic. So what you do right now in the world is so timely and so important. And I want to ask you, okay, so you were a performer, you were a choreographer, and then suddenly you just shifted from doing this kind of work that you loved and were good at, and you shifted to doing frankly, quite different work, helping people to find body-brain balance. So what brought you, what made you make this shift? What was the event or maybe experience that triggered your shift to doing that kind of work?
One of the things was I discovered, I had a brilliant teacher. Her name was Ronnie Mahler. She's a ballet teacher. She'd been a soloist with American Ballet Theater. And we were performing. She was teaching. I was in her program at the university. And a bunch of us were backstage and we're like, oh, we're so scared. We're so scared. And she said, just think about this. All of the physical signals of fear, butterflies in your stomach, shortness of breath, a kind of, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? She said, all of that is also the same physical reactions you have to excitement. So the physiological response in the body to fear and excitement is the same. And she said, so I don't think you're afraid. I think you're excited for this performance. And that was like one of the really first powerful shifts for me. And I'm like, oh, this changes everything. So I have used her line on dancers that I was teaching for years. But also, it was the beginning of my understanding that how I think about things, not just my body, not just my dancing, changes everything that happens to me, changes how I see, what happens. You know, people are kind of saying, sometimes they say this thing, which is life happens for you, not to you. But it often feels like life is happening to you. You know, you're driving your car down the road and you hit a pothole and you have a flat tire. And it's like, well, that happened to me.
Yeah, it didn't happen for me, for sure.
But in a wider circumstance, what if, because you got that flat tire, you weren't 5 miles down the road when a semi ran a light? You don't always know how the world is unfolding for you. And then maybe you meet the love of your life because he stops and helps you fix the flat tire.
Yeah, we don't really know the big picture, like what was the reason behind this experience, and knowing that there is a maybe bigger design that you may not be aware of right now. Really, I think that the perception, that's what you're talking about, the way we perceive our experiences really shifts how we experience them, how we choose to see it as choose to react to something versus choose to respond to something. And that, I think that's what you're referring to, right? So
Right. And so I used that all through my dance career. And at a certain point, a friend of mine took me to an Alexander Technique workshop, and I said, wow, this is the formula to pay attention to how thinking influences my body. So for myself, I used it all the time in my dancing and in my life. And I figured someday, any day, someday I will do this full time when I'm, don't want to travel so much, or like now when traveling is not so easy, when performing is very difficult, which it is. And then I had one of these terrible. See, I can't even say it's terrible anymore. because
we're humans. Sometimes we, just say things and then we catch ourselves. That's what conscious awareness is about, right? So sometimes we use words that we know not supportive, and then we just correct.
It's easy to correct, because our mind is so fast and so facile. But what's funny is that I was thinking about this event that happened in 2015 before I met you, and it seemed to me to be a crisis at the time. And so I'm going to squint my eyes up because I can remember how frustrated and angry I was. But that's a signal from my body that I'm going back, and you can hear my voice change. So when I remember that feeling from the past that I had before I had gotten far enough down the road to see that this giant pothole, when the program I was teaching dance in, which I thought was my dream job, that was an idea. What is my dream job? That's an idea. This one I'm doing now is my dream job. That was an old dream job. It wasn't that it wasn't a dream job at some point. It wasn't that it wasn't a wonderful thing to do. It just wasn't a wonderful thing to keep doing forever and ever and ever. And I did think that it was, it was going to provide me with the safety and security that I needed to manage retirement. But it was in a university, and trust me, every day I get up, I am so thankful. I am not trying to teach students to dance with half their face covered up, with the mask on, because this changes how you move your head and neck, and everything about dance is about the épaulement, the movement of your head and neck and shoulders. And so no matter what happens, I am grateful. I am thankful for that giant pothole. And after I gave myself time to be in a slump, because we all can be in a slump. We don't have to stay there. That's this other thing that you were talking about. What happens, and then what we do with it. And so to be gracious with ourselves when we need to be in a quiet, introverted, a little bit downtime, healing time, grieving time, all of these are going on right now in our world. People are grieving for things lost. They are grieving for people lost. They are grieving for quality of life lost. And fearful. I was really fearful. What's going to happen next? How am I going to survive? It's part of the reason I met you. What am I going to do? Because my plan A, financial stability, evaporated. I'm like, okay, I can deal, you know. And part of what you reminded me, which is, like I said, okay, I manifested an around the world trip in my life. Okay, I wanted to do it, and it made it happen. I can do this. I can create the life that I want if I pay attention to what I'm thinking, because my thoughts are always creating my life. So just like a while ago when I was thinking about how I used to think about they closed the major for the dance major for the program I was teaching in. So that just eliminated some jobs. And if even today I think about that as if I go back and there we go. So I can go back. I can do this to myself. We all can do this. And when we catch ourselves repeating a story, so-and-so did this to me, this happened, this always happens to me. Any of these things are the awareness reminders that you said. Wait, what am I saying? What am I creating by these thoughts, by these words? Did I mean to carry this that happened in the past? You know, this job evaporated out from under me the same exact week that my mom went into hospice care. This is my life. Things never happen one at a time.
Yeah, that's reality for many people. Laura, I want to ask you something that relates to what you just shared. So do you think that most of the stress and even fear comes from us trying to change our experience of life, just not willing to not willing to just be with what is, and just really wanting to change what is, and that's desire to change what is, and it's not always possible. It's not always within our reach or under our control. This desire makes us feel stressed out, overwhelmed, and fearful. Would you agree with this?
Totally. And it's not that a desire to change is bad. You know, a desire to change is good. But if we have this thing and we hate it and we don't want it anymore and we want it to go away and we push on it, if you just push and push and push, it pushes back just as hard. And this is a principle of life. So for dancing, and I say to people, if you want to jump, you need to plie and you need to push. The higher you want to jump, the more energy you expand pushing off the ground, and the ground springs you into the air. So that's a jump. So if we want to change something, I think a lot of times, well, I know for myself, when I was in this transition of not knowing how, I just didn't have plan B ready fast enough. And so I kept saying, I don't understand, I can't do that, and did it, and I was just going round and round, and I was just pushing and pushing and pushing, instead of looking at it like a floor and something I could jump off of. This didn't work out, so this isn't going to happen, and I'm kind of disappointed, but what might it spring me into if I don't keep pushing on this thing? So this is this response to realize when we get into a confrontation with ourselves, inside of ourselves, outside with somebody else. And so one of the really profound things I learned, which probably gurus from around the world are saying all the time, is that all change starts with change inside of ourselves. And I consider the idea of stopping this excess energy, this what I think of a mouse on a hamster wheel, or a hamster on a hamster wheel. spinning, 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 spinning. That's energy. That's energy wasted. That's energy that's just going round and round and round. It's not taking you where you want to go in the world.
And Laura, I just want to intercept here a little bit. What you're talking about, changing, like you said, change is good. Change that is within your reach, because there are certain circumstances in life that really, like when our parents pass, or when we get some disease, it's not always something that we can just change, because it's just not always up to us. So having this wisdom and awareness to accept certain circumstances and not try to blame yourself for maybe making bad decisions, or feeling guilty what happened in the past and things like that. Basically, use your energy on things that you can change. So you will not waste your energy on certain circumstances that you simply just not, it's not in your control to change, right? So be very discerning. Like, is it something that I can change and I want to change? And then just accept and allow things to run its course if it's something that you cannot change, right?
Well, and often, if we stop pushing, like if it's a person and we're like not getting along with the person, so this is a holiday time and you have a lot of people around, and maybe one of your family members is difficult to deal with, and you're like, oh, I don't want to see Uncle Joe, But if you shift and you say, well, I wonder what has happened to Uncle Joe this year that since I saw him. I wonder if it could be different this year. Not expecting it to be different, but that you just open your mind to the possibility. Then actually things around you change because your energy is different. So instead of having this, I don't want to talk to Uncle Joe thing, and then Uncle Joe is like zips right to you when you walk in the door. If you're like, well, I wonder what will happen. I wonder what he did. He may never even come talk to you. The whole event, the whole holiday event that you spent with people and that he's part of, because your energy was different, he wasn't attracted to you. Now, things that you can't change. I tore the ACL muscle on my knee, and I had to have surgery, and that had to happen. But what I was able to control through that was how my healing and rehabilitation went. That was what I had control over. And I could, like they would say to me, well, you need to do 50 leg pushes. And I would say to them, I can do 15. And then I start to use other parts of my body besides my leg muscles. Can I do 15 today and 20 tomorrow and 25 till I work up to 50? And they're like, how do you know that? I said, because I listen to my body. And if the purpose of this thing is to build my leg muscles back up, and I start gripping the chair and using my arms and using all other parts of my body, I'm not doing the purpose. So knowledge, awareness, discernment, and like the discernment of the difference between fear and excitement. Now, today, unknown change flooding into us from the outside, the first natural reaction to the human body who wants to survive is, this is making me feel unstable. I don't know how I'm going to survive this. And so then we say to our body, I got this for you. I got this for you. Talk to yourself, because it's easy. And so instead of our habitual reaction, which might be to freeze or to run or to do compulsively to avoid feeling afraid, whatever it is, you say, oh, let me just pause. Let me just interrupt that. Then there's all these good techniques, breathing. But if we just pause, a lot of times our body will do exactly the technique it needs in that moment to rebalance. And this balance is always different at every moment in time. It's not I got it, I'm going to stay here, I have perfect balance, everything is good. No, it isn't. Different balance when you're sitting, different balance when you're standing.
Balance means flexibility, and imbalance is rigidity. So, and keeping our body in this flexible state, and connecting this flexible state of the body with flexibility of our mind. I think that's ultimate balance that we all kind of would like to achieve, right?
Right. And I believe everybody can achieve it, if they wish to pay attention at this kind of level. So when your body gives you a signal that you are uncomfortable and uneasy, that's a reminder. What am I thinking? What's happening now? Maybe I don't feel like I'm thin enough to go to my family dinner or something, whatever. Oh, well, let me come back to that. Where's someplace in my system that feels a little easier than I feel when I think I'm not going to meet someone else's expectations? And again, that just softens that. And that softness is a little micro healing. Lets our body heal. And it interrupts the negative habitual pathway that we were starting down. Now, we all have probably at least 100 habitual pathways, and some are useful. Knowing how to start my car, fasten my seatbelt and start my car without really thinking in minute detail how I'm doing it, that's a useful habit. But a habit that creates more fear in my system, a habit that creates more discomfort in my body, a habit that irritates the people that I care about most and live around, these are not useful habits. And then people say, well, I'm going to break my habit. And I'm like, maybe. Maybe it will super glue itself back together. That's that pushing thing, right? I'm going to break it. What if we unraveled it? What if we untangled it? Like, if you get a little necklace with a thin chain, and sometimes it comes out of your jewelry box all gobbled up. And, if you pull on it, the knot tightens. That's the same thing. I'm going to break this habit. That tightens the knot. Instead, if you look at it from different angles.
With curiosity, not with a sense of guilt, like, damn it, why I have this, why it always happens to me. But interesting, I have this weird habit and it doesn't really serve me. How interesting. And then from this place of power, you can unfold it, right?
Exactly. And it's very gentle. Maybe you unfold one piece of it, or you unravel one tangle in the chain, and you don't have to do the whole thing, because it's you. And all of our habits came up in some time because they were an activity that in the moment helped us or saved us from another situation. That's okay. But it doesn't get to be applied like a blanket to every new situation. And so the realization of the different situations and this dynamic, I like to call it dynamic awareness. Oh, like you said, oh, this is interesting. Who knew I did this every time somebody said something about X, Y, and Z? I wonder why. Well, why is interesting. I'll put it over there. What else could I do? How else could I respond? What if I just didn't say anything? I did that the other day at a dinner. I just didn't say anything. And I was like, oh, I'm not saying anything. This is really cool. That's really unusual for me. But it was an interruption of an old habitual pattern. And I may not do it again, but I might do it. Now it's a new tool. In a situation like this, I can do this, which was my habit. I can do something new, or I can ask myself, what does my body think it needs to do right now? Does it need to put a hand on this other person because they're distressed? Do I just need to sit here and listen? Yeah, I mean, the responses are endless. And
Laura, I just can't stop myself thinking that what you're describing is basically a relationship with yourself, developing relationship with yourself, with your own body, with your own mind, because sometimes we spend so much time on judging or observing other people. But what if we apply the same passion that we sometimes use, talk about or observe other people toward ourselves, and observe our own patterns in our body, in our mind, and just basically see how we can come every time when life situation happens. And that's life, right? Something always happens. How can we come from a place of power, not from a place of force and pushing yourself and feeling guilty and feeling that we not good enough? How can we really have this beautiful relationship with ourselves?
That's a wonderful question, Millen. It's wonderful. There's two really important things. The first one is self-compassion, because we're going to goof up. We're going to make mistakes. It is human nature. And the world is fascinating. So we are going to fly out to this thing and that thing and the other thing and this person. And we're going to have to say, oh, what happens if I stay with myself? And I know that I like this thing in front of me. Like I like you. So it's hard for me not to talk too fast. It's hard for me not to get so excited, because we share all these ideas, and ideas are one of my favorite things. But if I say, well, how can I stay with myself and allow the energy of Millen to come to me? Then I don't press on you, and you get to be your whole self. Because you know how it is when somebody comes rushing up to you you haven't seen for a while, and they want to hug you, and your whole system, your first thing is like, even if you're happy to see them, right?
Yeah.
But if you can still rush up and hug somebody. But if you are able to do this body-brain balance thing, where you keep your energy in yourself when you hug that other person, then they are free to hug you back. They aren't glommed onto in a way. And so it's a shade. It's just like one step different than what we always do. It's just on one step over of doing all the same things. I cook, I clean, I talk to people on the phone, I do all the things I always do. But when I notice I'm starting to get caught up in something outside of myself, I just take a little pause, and then I do my process, my body-brain balance process, which is very simple, but it requires that you notice what's happening, you choose to change what's happening, you interrupt what's happening by stopping, and you give yourself the space and the curiosity to say, what else might be a good solution? And then you try it. And if it doesn't work, you say, oh, instead of getting mad, you say, oh, that wasn't, okay, we won't try that one again. But I come back here and say, what about if I try this?
Reminding yourself that we always have choices, right? Basically, because sometimes we feel like I'm stuck. But ultimately, we always, at any point in time in our lives, we always have choices. Laura, I can talk to you forever, as you know.
I know.
And I also know that you have something very special that you want to share with us today. So would you like to talk about the opportunity that people could take advantage of next year?
Certainly. I thought starting in January to help people get ahead of whatever's coming, because we know stuff is coming. It's always coming. To create a course that I called Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. And
I want to post the link right here so people can connect to this right away, okay?
Thank you so much. And it's a 4-week self-study video course, because a lot of times the beginning steps of this are pretty confusing, because it's asking you to look at what you always do and evaluate if that's serving you or not. And that's pretty private work. And so I made some videos to guide people through that, and some study sheets, or I call them easy sheets. Mm-hmm. And then I'll do a couple of live sessions where people can ask questions and say, well, I saw this. What does this mean? I discovered this. What do I do with this? And then we practice untangling that knot very, very gently. And again, like you said, the choice is always with the person. The choice to step onto the road of changing your thinking so that you can start to live a life that is joyful and full of grace and ease. That's your choice. Oh, and what else? I have $100 discount if anybody enrolls before January 1st. So they can go to that link and tell me they're interested, and I'll get back in touch.
Okay, so I just want to tell you that knowing Laura, it would be very valuable opportunity for you, because she is the real deal. So start your 2021 learning how to dance with ease, how to allow your body and your brain to be in a very flexible alliance and balance. And this is just 4 weeks, and just imagine that in 4 weeks, and it's not only online course, Laura also offers some consultations. So you will be able to feel so much better. And we all need to feel a little bit better these days, right? And
after this year,
and experience more ease in our lives. So just jump to this opportunity, get the discount that Laura offered. And thank you so much, Laura, again. Thank you for this opportunity to talk to you today, to hear from you your wisdom, your amazing tips that you accumulated for decades of working as a performer and as a teacher and as a coach. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And
I just want to say thank you, and how fun it is to talk to you, and how when people share ideas, the ideas grow. And I think it's really important.
And I just want to say, just before we started, I said to Laura, okay, let's dance with ease and let's have fun with this, right? So just try to see how you can find some joyful moments in any experiences in life. And sometimes it's maybe not the most joyful experiences, but maybe find gifts and lessons in this. Thank you so much, everybody who is watching us. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. And remember, next Wednesday, we're going to have another episode of Conversations with Experts. In the meantime, Merry Christmas. Enjoy your family. Enjoy the dancing with ease. Once you have these beautiful holidays and get together with whoever you're going to get together, have a blessed and joyful and healthy and safe Christmas. Take care. Bye now. Grow your wealth. Live on your terms.